Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little bit of soul, no times.
Welcome to Please Remain Calm. I'm Ben Gonzalez.
And I'm Daniel Gonzalez. As always, folks, the opinions expressed here on the Please Remain Calm podcast are our own. They do not reflect the opinions of the Los Angeles City Fire Department or the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services. We have another great episode today, man.
Yeah. Big guest.
Big guest. Yeah, big guest. That's a good one. Big guest who's, we're always looking for interesting incidents, interesting stories. It's not every day that you get a guest that has an interesting career.
Yeah. He has all the stories.
All the stories. When you're coming up on this job, not only is it important to obviously train, be prepared for anything, get exposure to different parts of the city, different incidents and stuff like that. But I've posted about this on my Instagram before. One of the most important things, in my opinion, is the old timers that you come up with. Mm-hmm. You learn, at least in my experience on the job, and I think I speak for a lot of people. I came up with some really quality old timers that have been around the block, that have been to some big fires at a time when it was a lot harder, a lot more physical being a firefighter. But at the same time, guys that have life experience outside of the fire department. It's not only the stuff that they can teach you about a fire incident or about how to be safe in an incident or how to attack a fire and all those technical things. Like, those are cool. But what you don't realize is how many life lessons you learn from these older guys that have lived life outside of the fire department. So our guest today is Bubba Willis. Bubba, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
We have a lot to cover in this episode. Bubba has been he's retired now, but has been around the fire department for a number of years, since I was 5-6 years old. And so I want to kind of dive right in because we do have a lot to cover. He's been to some pretty significant incidents, including 9/11 and Katrina. He's been involved with USAR and teaching USAR for many years. He still teaches all around the country. And so we're super excited to have him and get into it here. So welcome, Bubba.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I want to start off, man. I want to kind of just basically take a stroll through your career, man.
Okay.
Anytime we have a firefighter on, I feel like I say this all the time, but anytime we have a firefighter on, I'd like to kind of get the very beginning. What sparked your interest in this career from the beginning, and what was the route that you took to actually get hired on the LAFD?
Okay. So for me, I was fortunate to have a really strong mom.
Yeah.
Single mom, born and raised in Old 66's first in. And one of the things she did at 8 years old, she got me a big brother with the Big Brothers program.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He became a county firefighter.
Oh, wow.
That was my introduction.
Was he trying when you met him?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
He worked for Schaefer's Ambulance.
Ah, okay.
When he became my big brother, and then
Probably padding his resume to get hired by
Yeah,
now.
maybe,
I'm
yeah.
a big brother. I'm
Doing
working with kids.
doing right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
it was what
Smart.
it was, and I was I was a benefactor of that community service that he was doing.
Sure.
So that was my introduction. He just retired. God, I forget how long it's been now. We're still friends. We still hang out. We still talk. He retired from 51s up at Universal.
Sure. Yeah.
Just super, super good guy. And it was all because of him. And then he started, as I got older, he told me about the Explorer program.
Okay.
Now I was going to go to County 58s.
Yeah.
But that's a hike from where I'm at
Sure, yeah.
15 years old or whatever. So I just happened to be walking past Old 66s one day, and firefighters out front sweeping the apron. And I started talking. Now, mind you, in 1981, I had hair down to my shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And the first thing he said was, you got to get a haircut.
Yeah.
Tell me when and where. So anyway,
and you're how old at this point?
I'm 15.
15. Okay.
And so he told me to come back. Isaac Burks, if you haven't met Isaac.
Sure. Yeah.
Isaac retired a bunch of years ago. Isaac was the Explorer advisor at 66s. I came back, talked to Isaac. Another famous explorer out of 66 is now the current fire chief with LA County, Tony Maroney.
Sure.
He was an explorer there, and
Okay.
Tony was my explorer leader, for lack of a better term, teaching me everything about what I needed to do as an explorer.
Yeah.
And I think so it's 15, 16. So just doing everything I could as an explorer. And you talk about coming up around the mentors on the job, the old timers. I was fortunate that 66s had a bunch.
Sure.
Mhm.
And then I learned even back then about getting off the island, as we say.
Yeah.
Get out of 66s and go to other places in the city and ride out.
Sure.
So I'd go to 33s, I'd go to 4s, I'd go to all these places, and was just learning from some legit legends, Monty Majeski. I mean, just stuff.
Yeah, it's important too when you're young like that. You get kind of in a comfort zone being around the same guys at the same
Right.
station when you're an explorer like that.
Right.
And
You know?
to get out of that comfort zone and go around the city, not only to get exposed to different areas of the city, but get exposed to different personalities at
Right.
different stations to really understand that aspect of being a
100%
firefighter. Yeah.
Best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
And it was different back then.
Yeah.
Captains would let explorers do a lot of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was wondering about that, being an explorer in the 80s. Like, what were
It was different.
Yeah.
Like the biggest difference I can give is Dean Cathy, God bless him, was a captain at 66s. He ended up going to 4s, old 4s. I went down there one time to ride out with him. Old 4s was a task force with a squad, and you had legends there. Cathy, Gillis, Zink. I mean, just legends.
Yeah.
And the squad, I don't remember the old squads, no jump seats, tailboard only, AO, captain, 2 firefighters, 3 of them in the city. They'd go to fires, go to the roof, do mainly truck work.
Yeah.
As soon as there's a knockdown, drop the mic, pack their stuff, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
and bounce.
Yeah. We
Go
got to
the
be
next one.
available.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Sounds like the paramedic rescue.
yeah, exactly. So I would do that a lot as a young kid. In 1982, I go down there, and Langsfeld was the engine captain. I'm now I'm 16 years old, and he's like, "Nice to meet you." I was first off there, pink box in hand, front of the station, rode the bus with all my stuff from South LA to down there in Alameda.
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the morning in front of the fire station. Who are you? Explained to him who I was. Lets me in. He goes, "Hey, we got to move up to 27s a day on the engine. When you get there, you're giving me an engine inventory drill and a BA drill."
First day?
I'm an
Okay.
explorer. I'm an
Yeah.
explorer. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. Knew the BA because from all the other stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Learn the inventory. We get there, we do our stuff. As soon as I'm done, don the BA for time. I go to put the mask back back then everybody shared masks. You
Yeah.
swap every morning.
Yeah.
I go to put the engineer's mask back in the compartment. He goes, "What are you doing? You can't go in and fight fire without a mask."
Oh shit. You're like, excuse me?
So yeah, so I explained to
Right.
him, I go,
Yeah.
I tried to do the rules. And he goes,
I'm a junior.
Yeah.
he jumped in me. He goes, "If you're going to talk back every time I tell you something, go home."
Yeah.
God damn.
80s were different, man.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Sure, yes, sir." And dude, ever since then, I was living at that fire station. Anytime if I had a chance, I'd go. Ended up next to him at Dorothy May.
Oh, wow.
Now we come in, we're 24 dead at this fire, November 82. And he grabs me, "Get out."
Oh, no
Because he
shit.
knew
Yeah.
everybody's coming.
The investigations are coming.
Everybody's
Sure, yeah.
coming. And we had a guy.
Because this is you're an explorer
I'm still an
still.
explorer.
Dude.
Go
Not
put that
supposed to be
mask
in.
back.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
out to the
Oh my
rig.
God, dude.
Go to the rig with Rocky Passioni. Go to the rig with Rocky. So, but that was the stuff that I got to do as a 16-year-old kid. Like even at 33s, I'd ride out there so much. If the light force got a run, they'd keep the inside man on the truck, and I'd lay the line for the pump on the pump.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Different
a
world, man.
16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
trusting that, So anyway, so that was how I, that was my experience as an explorer.
Sure.
And then, so the department started testing when I was 18. Well, I turned 18 in April of 84 and didn't graduate till June of 84.
Okay.
So in April of 84, I went and took the GED so I can put in my application.
Wow.
You had to have a diploma.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I had to have that GED or the diploma. So I put in for both paramedic and, because back then paramedics were single function, put in for that job and for the fire job.
Paramedics were a single function, and they also, when you say put in for a paramedic spot, you're talking about getting hired, and then the department would send you to paramedic school.
Yeah, it was just like the there was even a physical abilities. There was the testing process was the same
for paramedic,
as fire.
Yeah,
but the differences was like for the paramedic physical abilities test. Remember in the fire department physical abilities test, you have the step, the breather.
Yeah.
Well, instead of a breather, you're carrying those old orange,
the
big tackle boxes. You're carrying 2 of those.
Yeah.
Another one was
that's actually pretty funny.
Person on the backboard.
Yeah.
Well, so there was
Squat
one.
down,
There
lift
was
the
one
gurney.
like that. It was lifting the gurney.
Yeah.
It was paramedic stuff. It was done at the drill tower that used to be at the shops. Just like the fire tests were, things like that.
And it's the 80s too, so I'm picturing you with sweats on and then shorts over your sweats.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no leg warmers yet.
Headband, wristbands.
No leg warmers yet, though. Headband.
Yeah.
But so for me, it was good because I'm going to take whatever comes.
Sure.
And by then, you're realizing EMS is
that's the way it's going.
That's the way it's going.
Yeah.
So, and I figured, you know what's the worst that could happen? I do it. I don't get hired on the fire side just yet. I at least have other options. I could go to the county.
Sure. Yeah.
I could, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I do the GED. I start the testing process. For the paramedic test, when you apply, they actually gave you a book to study, like a 3-ring binder.
Okay.
To study. And me and Maroney, the LA County chief, Friday night before the test, we studied. All night.
Yeah.
And he had done a little bit more, some more stuff than me. He was like a couple of years older.
But you hadn't been in an ambulance before.
I had never. Other than as an explorer helping, like on incidents and stuff.
Right.
And I knew how to set up IV bag, but I wasn't starting one.
Yeah.
And even then, it was some like I was learning from legends, the guys that came over from the old Brown Bomber days and the old, those days. I had Dick Houlet and Jim Mangers and just Van Berquist. Just these.
Yeah, like the original paramedics in LA.
Yeah, Andrea Anderson or Andrea Everett. All these like legends, and then I'm learning as an explorer about the EMS program. And back then, you only had 3 EMS supervisors in the entire city, 1 per division.
Yeah.
So I'm learning from those guys and stuff like that. And and that was kind of how I got coached, for my interview. Matter of fact, one of them I knew because EMS 2 was at 33s. Fred Hurtado, he was going to be on my interview and he recused himself because I knew him.
Yeah.
So I ended up with a name from way back in the day. Anyway, 18-year-old punk kid, not an EMT, only an explorer, doing whatever. And I got a 98.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I got hired. So
there you go.
And my funny part or whatever with that is I get hired. So I also test on the fire side. I do great on the fire test. So it looks like I'm probably going to get the job there. At the paramedic orientation, I get pulled out by then Captain Badgett and the training division, AC at the time was Chief Orduna.
Yeah.
And they pull me aside and they look at a board. They go, "You're getting hired in the fire academy in 2 months. Why are you taking this? You're taking a seat from somebody because we know you want to do that."
Yeah.
I'd already learned from another friend in the previous paramedic class, don't tell them you want to be a firefighter.
Oh, really?
So my answer was, this is the wave of the future. I am dedicated to this 100%. So, okay. So anyway, so I get hired and then I had to earn it. I got a letter because I'm finding out about all these guys getting their fire academy notifications.
Sure, yeah.
And I hadn't gotten one.
Yeah.
So I call personnel.
It backfired.
Yeah.
Personnel goes, "Well, you didn't pass your medical. I got a green card from you saying I did."
Yeah.
Not only that, I got 2. I got one for the because you maybe take the same medical in the same week.
Yeah.
2 medicals in the same week for 2 different jobs.
Yeah.
And they both say pass. Oh, well, you need to file a appeal.
Yeah.
I'm in an academy. How am I don't have time. There's no computer. There's no email. There's it's got to be typed. So I asked a friend, asked somebody for help to type, asked a couple of those captains that I know to make some phone calls. Pat Shanley was one of my mentors. And all of a sudden, I get called to Captain Badgett's office and the drill masters and everybody at the paramedic academy. "You lied. You said you weren't going to do this."
Oh, man.
My answer was, "Have you seen my test scores?
Yeah. Yeah.
Get out of here."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so I got hired on the fire side. So,
And did you make it all the way through the paramedic drill tower?
Back then, the paramedic drill tower was 8-week tower, which was EMT, driving, manual of operations, so and like moving patients and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then once you finish that, and it was like EMT on steroids because they were prepping you
Sure.
for paramedic school.
Sure, yeah.
So, and once you finished, then you went to PTI or
Sure, yeah.
Daniel Freeman or wherever they were sending you. So, no, I quit that Friday. And back then, when I got hired on the fire side, we had Westlake, which was at MacArthur Park, the old signal office. And you did 3.5 weeks of basic operations and 3.5 weeks of ladders and lifting weights and learning mops and all that shit before you went to the actual drill tower. And they were doing modular drill towers back then.
And where was the drill tower at that time?
So it was a modular system. So you did 3.5 weeks at 89s for ladders,
right?
40s for hose lays, back to 89s for company ops. The last 3.5 weeks was post because we still did post training and EMT. And then you went to, so 21 weeks.
Wow, man.
Is what it was.
Damn.
And then
back and forth.
So yeah, but then I graduate the academy and they're given station assignments. And Jim Hall was he was a staff assistant or an aide when I was an explorer. And he goes, Willis, 21s, 33s, 66s. Really? He goes, how'd you do that? I didn't pick them.
Yeah.
And 33s is my truck house.
Yeah. Oh,
So
perfect, man.
Hurt me.
Yeah.
I went right back to the places that.
Places
where
you
you
love.
were,
Where you grew up.
I mean, it was a double-edged sword, though. It's like comfy.
Yeah, sure.
I knew where I was at. I knew the area. There's stuff I didn't have to learn, but the expectations were higher.
Of course.
Now you're a fireman.
6 months ago, I was an explorer there with all the same people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now I'm back as a boot.
Yeah.
There was no 2 shifts or whatever and do the inventory drill. Day one,
You should know this shit
day
already.
one,
Let's
the truck
go.
captain had me out there doing the inventory drill on the truck.
Sure. Yeah.
Knocking it out. I mean, it was
that's crazy.
and it was awesome. But it was just it was great.
Yeah. What a way to get thrown into the fire, so to speak.
Right, exactly.
You know?
100%. So that's the gist.
Yeah, and that's like it's interesting, man, because people, the younger guys now that are coming on don't realize that, like, how important it is to go to a busy spot right off the bat. You know what I mean? And there's always, of course, that fear factor of, like, being someplace busy like that where the guys are hardcore, and they expect a lot out of you. But that's what you want when you first get out of the drill tower. You want to be exposed to that heat, so to speak.
And what you don't want, though, and that's the one thing out of everything that probably bugged me about our career is coming up during those 80s that I did and seeing the less than professional firefighters treating rookies like shit.
Sure, yeah.
Simply because you got treated like shit.
Yeah.
Does nothing to teach that rookie.
Exactly.
Right.
Zero.
It's a terrible way to learn.
Well, for me, it's a quick way to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Because as soon as my name's in ink, me and you were having a chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Just and that happened twice.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, wow.
I never understood that, man. It was funny for me. I always use the example of when I was at Nines and we got a fourth house rookie. Basically had been done with probation. They send you this spot to kind of like a holding pattern till they find out where you're going to go, or maybe you're waiting for your paramedic to clear or something like that. And one of my good friends now, John Holt, he's an EMS captain in EMS 9. He shows up at Nines. He's a fourth house rookie. I probably have 3 years on the job, something like that. And it's the same thing. There were some guys there at Nines that were just assholes to rookies for no reason. Classmates of mine even. Dude. And I've never bought into that. I've always treated people with respect.
Right.
And you get to know people and stuff like that. And then you find out Holt was a Marine recon, behind enemy lines in Afghanistan and you're like, oh, you can kill me. Yeah. You have the potential to kill me. I'm glad. Yeah. Let's be friends, dude. I'm glad I was cool with you. We're buddies now, but you never know who's getting hired.
Do anything.
Yeah.
It's like you treat people right. Because the goal is for them to learn.
Yeah. And we're all learning something new here, and everybody has their own life experiences and stuff like that. You never know who you're dealing with. Yeah.
But you went back and settled the bill with a couple guys?
I wouldn't say went back versus the opportunity presented itself.
Oh, the bill is right here. What do you know?
The stars aligned.
The stars aligned. And
That's funny, man.
Like, remember me?
Yeah, there's well, and that was the old school days too. Is that we went to the handball court and we took care of stuff. We handled things in the locker room. You took care of things a little bit different back in the day.
It's definitely a different department now.
Oh yeah, I mean it's even as I was fortunate that I don't know what my last 10 whatever years. I have no idea what the real fire department is like.
Yeah,
I was in a great spot, great people.
You kind of separated from that.
That stuff. Now I lived it as a firefighter. I was assigned hired for a bunch of times. I was browned out. I was all that.
Yeah.
As a staff assistant, I was the person during the assigned hires and all that before we had the automatic button where we'd have to build a batting order and really check to make sure that Gonzo had his 96 hours so he could be exempt. And I took that very serious as a staff assistant. It's my job to make sure you're not going to get jammed up.
Yeah, of course.
No different than somebody calling me because you're on the tailboard trying to detail you.
Yeah.
And then I keep them accountable. Have you called 3, 4, and 6? I was an SA Battalion 13.
Sure.
Have you called 3, 4, and 6 yet? No? Click.
Yeah.
Don't call it.
Yeah. There's a lot less of that these days too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you were literally like going down the list and checking every guy.
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying, I got to take care of my, the people.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So anyway, it was a different time in the, I was fortunate. I did 21s, 33, 66s. 33s is my truck house. Got off probation at 66s and literally grew up 2 blocks from 66s. I mean, it was my neighborhood.
Sure.
Yeah. I went to school in the area. And then I went to 57s for 2 years.
57s.
Which 1 year at the old house and opened the new house.
Okay.
And that was a great experience. And ended up with rookies.
Yeah.
Sal Aldana was one of my rookies.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Sal, 63's legend.
Yeah.
Sal.
Yeah.
Actually, it was funny, man. I just, my wife and I were at Handy J Car Wash right there at Mar Vista. We sat down next to this gal that had a dog, and so the dog came. We're petting the dog and just chit chatting. And I mentioned that I was a friend in the conversation. Mentioned I was a firefighter. She goes, "Oh, my landlord is a firefighter." I go, "Who's your lead? You live here in Venice?" I go, "Is it Sal?" And she's like, "Yeah, Sal." But okay, so you do your rounds as a rookie, 66s for a bit, 57s for a bit. At what point do you decide, or does the turn go toward USAR?
So there's a section there that I always talk about being my best, not my best, my funnest 4 years on the job.
Yeah.
So I left 57s. I went to 76s trying to slide into Battalion 5.
Okay.
I wanted to go to 27s. I want to go to the show.
Sure.
Got to go to the show.
Yeah.
That's where I wanted to go. And was even there at 76 is fortunate. I had Shrewsbury was my captain. He was an old dog from 46s, called him Pooh Bear. Super solid guy. My engineer was Pete Goff, God bless him. Another legit legend that was on the job.
Yeah.
Again, talk about background. Dude was a underwater welder.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
like legit
man.
stories.
Yeah.
And then my senior firefighter at 76s was Bob Wilson. He had 30 years on the job.
Oh, wow.
29 of them at 76s.
That's
No way.
crazy.
Day one, he goes, "Yeah, I don't go inside." What?
Okay.
Got it. But I learned how to drive. We had a 67 Crown, all the hills.
Yeah.
It was
Sure,
a great,
yeah.
another base, right? Coming from the flatlands with an automatic Van Pelt to
Sure. Yeah.
to this thing, right?
Yeah.
And then we had a fire one night, and 61s was there, and it was the beginning of the 800s. And Gary McDonough was the captain of 61s. He goes, "Hey," and he knew me from my Explorer days.
Yeah.
He goes, "I need you over at 61s." Okay. He goes, "I'll do the paperwork." Okay.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's it. Huh? Easy as that.
Went to 61s for 4 years. Best 4 years of my career. Just amazing people.
Old 61s?
So they had already built the new station.
Oh, they did.
And they
Okay.
built it on the same lot.
Sure. Yeah.
So they had already built the new station. Legit legends. McDonough was the 2. Ray Gomez was the 1.
Oh, wow.
And then just Watley. Firefighters are me, Schilling,
Okay.
Yamashiro.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just
Yeah.
can you imagine that crew? I mean, it was fun. And it was then during that 90 to 94.
Yeah, those guys are like my legends. You
Right,
know,
exactly.
When I was coming up, like,
legit dudes.
Yeah.
And it was during that time that we were going from that one lifeline system to the new Kermano lifeline system.
Yeah.
And we're
With
doing
the
all this.
belay
Now we're doing this training, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Rope systems.
Right.
Mhm.
So 93 comes around. They're starting California Task Force 1, the FEMA team.
Yeah.
So they're taking, people.
Sure.
I start getting involved. So that was 93. Everybody on the team starts off as a rescue spec. So you got to start doing all the structural collapse classes,
Sure,
things
yeah.
like that. And then my time in 94 came up, and a spot at disaster preparedness. So like the gentleman that was here earlier,
Yeah.
CERT. So the CERT unit used to be under disaster preparedness out there in those temporary trailers behind 88s.
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
They were temporary in 1992.
Yeah.
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 The classroom out there was the same
Permanent
classroom.
temporary.
Bro, the classroom out there was the same classroom I was in at Westlake.
Man, that's
Same
crazy.
trailer. No joke.
No
Same
way.
trailer in 86.
That's crazy.
So anyway, get out there and that's where it's happening. That's the hub of USAR. That's where all the stuff is going on.
You're doing all this as a firefighter.
As a
still, right?
firefighter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just a dumb firefighter. I
Did,
never promoted.
they not have, or did they have all of the USAR training stuff that they have at 88s at that point?
So it was starting to get built.
Okay, gotcha.
All of it was getting built up. Like if you ever go out there and you look at the concrete on that
Yeah.
side of the yard, it's all patchwork.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
Because Bonanza's down the street, and they would call up that they had a hot load that they needed to get rid of. So the guys would get together, form it up, and they'd come and
Oh,
so
really?
it's costing us. It's that entire place has been built. All the USAR stuff in that place
Yeah,
has been built through the dedication of the members,
yeah.
donations.
Sure, yeah.
It's all of that. So I mean, from beginning to end. I mean, to even now.
Yeah,
If it wasn't like right now, they're rebuilding the backyard and all that's Rich Deedy from the heavy equipment company doing his thing.
yeah. Yeah.
It's the. I mean, I'm going to straight up say it. It's like the lack of complete support from the agency in regards to USAR is sad.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
But again, we keep on making it work, so therefore, there's no reason to
yep.
fix
Step
it.
in.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a lot of things like that.
Right,
on the
100%.
department.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Fire Station 88. There's a lot going on at that place.
Yeah.
It's where all the
huge.
USAR training happens. They've got confined space tunnels underneath the yard out there.
So 89s has the tunnels. They're building the tunnels out there. All of our at behind 88s is it's the habit trail.
Oh, okay.
It's all
right,
above.
that's
But
right.
89s has the
And then they have like the shops out there. And
Yes,
the
Valley shops.
trailers and stuff like that
Yep.
are all out there as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on at that station.
yeah. They just Didi just rebuilt, got all the containers donated. I can't tell you how many containers, and built a city
Oh,
out
really?
of containers.
That's crazy.
And we have a new rope tower, and we have or whatever we have.
Yeah.
All
So
this
there's
stuff.
a whole little disaster city
Yeah.
training center kind of thing there.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
we I don't know if you saw it for our 30th anniversary. So the 30th anniversary celebration of California Task Force 1 was in September.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had the 30th anniversary celebration, it was also the dedication of the training facility. We named it after Captain John Rudy.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's John's place,
Oh,
John
nice.
Rudy Memorial Training Center. He was my captain out there for twice when he was a Captain 1, and I was at DPU, and then when I came back to USAR, he was my Captain 2 there, and just another legend
Yeah,
that was
definitely.
taken.
Yeah, man.
So
So you have, when you talk to you've been to some significant incidents in your career. I mean, Dorothy May. I didn't know you were at the Dorothy May fire, which is
as an
crazy.
explorer.
I want to talk about your time in USAR.
Okay.
And what was the first significant USAR incident that you responded to? Can you talk about that a little bit?
So, I mean, obviously, it's funny. It's a hard question.
Yeah.
Because, local USAR events, significant, but once you've gone to
Something
some
major,
of the
major.
other stuff
yeah.
I've gone to, these are the incidents that we train for day to day. These are what we want to do.
Sure.
And then there's, significant. What's the metrics for that? Like,
Sure. Yeah.
like one of the ones that sticks out is we had that house that collapsed by Echo Park, and it collapsed because of termite damage.
Oh, wow.
Like this 2-story center hallway apartment that
Yeah.
fell, and here we are. So it stuck out because of the cause.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Of course.
And stuff like that. No life loss that I recall. Nothing like
that. That's one
whatever.
thing about USAR though, is like every incident is interesting.
Yes.
it's got a story behind it. You're like, okay,
I was
how
gonna
the hell
say
does
we
this
should probably
happen?
do like a blip of like what USAR is
Okay.
for everyone that
so all right.
listening, you know.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So USAR is urban search and rescue, not to be confused with a lost person search or a hiker rescue or wilderness rescue. The disciplines in urban search and rescue is just to be on one of our. So LA City Fire has 6 tech rescue or urban search and rescue stations, or task forces as we call them, and just to get in there, once upon a time it was the 4 basics: lowering a rope, rescue systems 1, trench and confined space.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that we run to here in the city of LA. Now there's a thing called NFPA 1670, National Fire Protection Agency 1670, which requires tech level stuff. So we want everybody to be 1670. So they also have to take rope rescue tech, and then structural collapse. Structural collapse is the big one because that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's the hardest. I mean, all of them are difficult. That's the hardest.
Okay.
That's the delayering of the structure when it's collapsed. That's the using and working together to do and take apart the thing without you getting killed or making it worse for the people we're trying to rescue.
Securing it. So
Delayering, like shoring up, make sure
so
there's no
shore it
further
up
collapse.
and then literally taking pieces off at a time to get to
what it is
what you're trying to get.
Man, it's like a
Right.
like a reverse Jenga.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And again, and it's exactly, you're taking it off going down instead of
Right.
building it. But yeah, that's a good example of it.
Yeah.
And so that's USAR. To get in back in the old days, a lot of that training was out of your pocket. We spent, I can't tell you how much money we've spent. I mean, I just early on, the early days. Fortunate right now within within LA, there's a thing called Urban Area Security Initiative money that helps to fund a lot of the training. There's position descriptions and training requirements that come down from FireScope, which is the group that in California that dictates what those things look like, what the typings are and things like that.
Sure.
So all these things occur and we have, just like every other thing has a standard, there's a standard and a standard level of training and equipment,
Yeah.
a minimum equipment list, what type of equipment you're supposed to have. Now the FEMA team, the California Task Force 1 is one of 28 FEMA teams in the country. Of those 28, we have 8 here in California. LA County is also an international team. There's only 2 of those in the country. Menlo Park, Oakland, Riverside, or Orange County, Riverside, and San Diego and Sacramento are the teams.
So are the FEMA teams kind of like the all-stars of the USAR for that department?
You could call that.
Okay.
and of course, there's the infighting with us because in California, we're California Task Force 1.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm no longer on California Task Force 1, by the way. That didn't work out with carrying retired guys. So I am now a member of California Task Force 6.
Okay.
I was blessed that Riverside City decided to accept my application
Okay.
and carry me as a member of their task force.
That's great, man.
So it allows
Continue doing something you love,
to
yeah.
keep on doing
Yeah.
the USAR stuff, which I am passionate about and enjoy and do every day. There was a, I don't know where it came from. Somebody sent it to me. I don't even know who the person was, talking about you in retirement and how you've got to find something to do.
Sure. Yeah.
And don't forget, in 6 months from the time you leave your agency, they'd have forgot you.
Yeah. You're forgotten, man.
You have no idea.
Yep.
It
Life
was a
goes
great
on.
thing to watch and listen to. And it was like, as I'm listening to it, I'm like, yeah, I could see that because I'm no joke. As I got closer to retirement, there's a depression that sets in.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it.
Because when people ask you, what do you do for work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I am a.
There's an air about it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am a firefighter,
Yeah.
not.
I was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, but that's the USAR stuff. I could get deep in that other stuff all day long.
So yeah, let's talk about, so were you involved with USAR, like, let's say when the Northridge earthquake happened?
So involved, not one of the main rescue guys yet.
Okay, gotcha.
I was still at 61s.
Okay.
I live in Santa Clarita.
Okay. Yeah.
It was my day to work. Woke up. I thought somebody was breaking in the house. So I woke up and was at the door.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's an earthquake.
Yeah.
My condo that I had at the time had carports. So I actually helped get some of the carports up so my neighbors could get their cars out. And then I headed into work. I made it to Calgrove where the collapse was. And the chippy, I walked up to him and the chippy goes, yeah, you're probably not going to make it. I still had this cool tricked out Jeep back then. And I came back up in the Jeep. He goes, you should be all right. And I rolled up the 61s and right as the truck was about to pull out, threw my stuff on the truck. I was in Wranglers and Lacers and threw my stuff on the rig, and I stayed in that and turnouts all day. We went to Cedars for a hazmat deal in the North Tower at Cedars.
Yeah.
Was there most of the day, and then the rest of the night we were in the valley doing stuff. So
you were wearing your clothes?
No, I was
I
was in my
turnouts,
turnouts,
yeah.
but I never. I mean, I had my bag, but I never got changed over from.
Hey,
the other
Jeep,
stuff, right?
Jeep and Wrangler, if you're listening, we could use a sponsor. That's a free commercial right there.
Yeah, it is. No kidding. In fact, I just replaced that one and bought me a new one for retirement. Not a brand new one. I bought a unicorn. It's called a TJ Unlimited. They don't.
Nice.
They didn't make a whole bunch of them. You know what Jeep stands for? Just empty every pocket.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it's like boat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Break out another 1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I want to make sure that we touch on these major incidents that you've been involved in. Obviously, September 11th, 2001, a significant incident to the entire country.
Yep.
Obviously, where were you assigned when that went down, and how did you go about responding to that incident?
So was assigned to Battalion 13, driving Double L, Chief Wilcox.
Oh, okay.
I was just getting off of it's either a 120 or 144, one of the two.
Sure.
That morning I was going home.
Yeah. Tired.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know Rube Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Rob and I slept in the same, the 2-bed dorm there at 66,
Okay,
new 66s, and where the SA bed is. And everybody that knows me knows not to lean over me to wake me up.
Are you a choker?
Yes.
Okay.
You would have.
Yeah.
I think in another life I was in the war or something.
Yeah.
Because it's everybody knows. Don't they?
Did you know Mo Chillingar?
Yeah, I remember Modesto.
So,
yeah,
Mo was the same way.
Yeah.
He'd be asleep in the TV chair and God damn it, what's his name? He used to come up and pinch his nose, and Mo would be throwing punches
just out of nowhere. So that was the morning of 9/11. Rob comes over to wake me up, and he's whatever, and I come up and say, no, get to the kitchen now. So just as I walk into the kitchen, second plane hits. It's like, holy shit. Immediately I go to the office. Again, oncoming shift was coming on. So Milledge Peaks was the chief working that day.
Okay.
I forget who his staff assistant was. So the game plan in LA was me and Wilcox are going to staff up 713.
Okay.
713. Now, the deployment side of FEMA, there's a process.
Sure.
I'm a plans guy. I'm all about process.
Yeah.
I'm not going to skirt the process.
Sure.
Right.
Jump the gun.
Milledge is telling me, you guys are going, leave. Go on out to, DRS or behind 88s. Nope. There's a process.
Yeah.
If I'm meant to go, I'll go. Because we don't know what's happening here. Remember, there's a process.
Right.
So we don't know what
and there was still worry about something
yeah,
major
there was.
happening here at the time.
Absolutely,
We literally didn't know what was going on.
We had no clue.
Yeah.
So we're getting 713 ready.
I say
go.
I was private ambulance at the time.
Yeah, but still,
we were at the ready.
You guys have an impact too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I get a phone call. Bubba, load your stuff. They just called. You're activated. All right. Drop
And
the mic.
you're on California Task Force 1.
On California Task Force 1 at this point.
Yeah.
So
and you're 5-6 years into USAR or more than that?
So
at 2001
from there. So almost 8 years.
Okay. So you've been around the block a bit.
Been doing a bunch of stuff.
You're trained up.
I'm not a rescue spec anymore. I work under plans. I'm a tech info specialist / plans manager.
Gotcha.
In that position. Okay. And so I get out there, and my job when we get activated is to help start racking the team, doing all the stuff to get the team racked up, the travel plan to we're going to fly. So we're going to fly out of March. So need work with logs to get all that stuff ready to go. Get to March Air Force Base, sit, because that's how it usually happens.
Yeah, a lot of hurry up and wait.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally, so that was, they literally pulled the trigger as like right after the second tower fell. Forgot what time we got to March, but we pulled in, we flew into McGuire in New Jersey, hit the deck. They had trucks for us and all of our equipment. We traveled back then with, I think, anywhere from 6 to 8 pallets, like aircraft pallets worth of and we flew on C-141s.
Oh, wow.
It was us in Riverside and San Diego.
And all the air traffic is grounded at this point.
So that was the freakiest. So nothing is up except for military stuff.
Sure.
Right.
And the pilot at some point passes the word along, if anybody could get a chance to peek out the window. So it was these 2 C-141s and F-16s off our sides.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we were moving.
Yeah.
And I was a lucky one. I wasn't on one of the ones that had all the pallets, because if you've ever seen those, the pallets are like right here.
Yeah. God, I hope these straps hold.
We didn't have any pallets. We were, it was like first class. So, but we hit McGuire, hit the deck. While they got us our stuff, New Jersey State Troopers escorted us into the city. As soon as they got us into the city, I was a part of a recon team that went out for our assignments to assess what our job was going to be.
Yeah.
Typical stuff. Most of the people there that knew who we were, because New York is a task force also, died.
Whew, damn.
The godfather of USAR, Ray Downey, from FDNY USAR command, was gone. And just that's like taking our entire EOPS and wiping them out.
Jesus.
Yeah, because you got to think those are the first guys that went in.
Yeah,
exactly.
Basically, like if this is their situation.
Right?
Boom. If they're calling you, they're called them.
And these are guys that we've trained with. So you might know a couple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even I'm not going to say his name. Even one asshole I didn't like.
Yeah.
But still,
sure.
That's
yeah.
I mean, I like him, but we have we work together, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like I hope he's okay, so I can still cuss him out. Anyway.
I want to pause for just a second, because when you visit, like I went with my wife and visited the site where the towers were, and the memorial that's there, the museum that's down below, where you can see like you see the footprint. Yeah, you see the footprint of the towers and all that stuff, and it's an experience, man, to say the least. Being there at this time when there's a museum built and a memorial. And then you look up at the buildings around you, and you imagine, or even when I was at Nines early in my career after this happened, and there was obviously periodic threats on downtown LA and stuff like that. And when you try to plan for what you would do in a scenario like what happened in 9/11, it's almost too much to even try to figure out how to take the first step toward mitigating something like that. I wanted to just hear your thoughts on the first time you actually got on scene and what you saw and how that affected you and what your thoughts were.
So there's a video, you can literally see my emotion. There's a video on History Channel.
Okay.
They show every 9/11, and it's got the recon teams on the bus, and the camera pans on me a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
And the look is, will you get the camera out of my face?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of work.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm thinking of, this is all the stuff we've done.
Yeah.
We've trained. I mean, these are 210-story buildings. So now this is structural. This is whatever. And as we rolled in, the color went away. So all this color.
Yeah.
And then it all turned this gray.
Yeah.
And it was weird.
And
it was so surreal. It looked like a training site.
Yeah, because everything is covered in that dust and everything from a layer.
It looked like a training site.
Yeah.
Other than the people that were there and their colors on their turnouts or whatever they were wearing, everything else was gray.
Yeah.
And nothing. It's 210-story office buildings.
Yeah.
I didn't see one desk. I would see it being you notice things that you're used to, right?
Sure.
So InFocus is a projector company.
Yeah.
So I saw an InFocus bag. I saw the platters from a hard drive. So like take a hard drive and open, and it's got those chrome.
Yeah.
I saw platters. So little things like that would stick out. There's a building, there's O'Hara's down the street, and there's a building next to it with 3 balconies or fire escapes.
Sure.
And all the fire escapes are full of paper.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. Just crazy
Surreal
stuff all the way up to the tin house. I mean, and then we were given, I think it's 190 West. It's one building that had been burned across the street, and we were given that to clear.
Okay.
So that was one assignment.
Yeah.
And then, so it's just, it's just this weird, but we had a incident. So IWI, incident within an incident, while we were there. I think that probably impacted me more than as grand and big as the
actual collapse,
the actual thing was, and all these, thousands of people that have perished. We're doing an operation, and I'm doing the sit stat restat on where the people are, and because it's void spaces everywhere.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's like 50-foot drops.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that you can't see.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're talking about hundreds of stories of building. When that collapses, you still have 20, 30, 40
or
stories of rubble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still. Right. So another team found a door and opened the door, and it gave the air. And there was you ever do the, turn the gas on your barbecue with the lid closed and then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So imagine a 80-foot
area. Pocket. Yeah.
With us standing on it. And then there's fire coming out of the hole. Me and a couple other guys blast dry chems and grab the guys. Luckily they had PPE on, but there was where they weren't covered. They did get some burns.
Oh, wow.
But again,
these are guys on your task force one?
Team. Yeah, different team.
Okay, yeah.
And because every team was either there or Virginia.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's almost all the teams are gone.
Yeah.
So it was that incident was like, okay. And for me, that was we're all put in situations and places for a reason.
Yeah.
And our doubled up on that, and the people that were there, the quality.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say their names. It was Avery, Don Reyes, and Quinlan.
Okay.
And me.
Yeah.
So and nobody said a word. We just.
Yeah. Set training,
right?
And muscle memory.
And again, and it's not saying it to hype it up, saying it to, that's what we do. And that's where the training is so important, so that when it happens, proven, even when you look at as tragic as the Boyd Street incident was, training is what helped them survive.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
sure.
stuff like that. But no, there was a moment. So the Javits Center is the convention center there. That was our base of operation. Then we set up a forward base of operation. We did the first 2 days. It was a all team blitz. So back then the team was 66. Now the team is 70. It was all team blitz for 48 hours or something. And then we went to AM PM. So half the team AM PM. And when you go back to the Javits Center, that's your you got to clean your stuff and rehab yourself.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
it's easy to forget to take care of yourself
right.
on an incident like that when there's so much to do.
And especially with the shop that I'm in. So I've got to take everybody's unit logs and summarize them, because back home wanted a summary of what we did. So not only do I got to deal with it with what I'm dealing with, I got to read yours.
Sure. Yeah.
This one's.
Yeah.
And summarize it all. So I'm like really living it.
Sure. Yeah.
And there was a moment. Remember, I haven't been home in 6 days. Now I'm there. Puerto Rico has a USAR. They're not a part of the FEMA system, but they have a team. They were there. And that song, a song called It's Been a While.
Okay,
yeah.
Came on in there, boo. I couldn't do it. Closed
Yeah.
my laptop, grabbed a cigar, walked out the front door. It's 1-point-something miles. It's about a 25-minute walk. And somehow I ended up at Times Square.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Just lost in your thoughts.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was like, all right, I need a ride.
Yeah.
I got to get back. But I needed that moment.
Yeah.
And there's I've done a 10-year interview, just did a 20-year interview. I don't like doing the interviews, but I've been asked, so I'll try and do them. And there's not one where it just starts, bringing stuff back. But it's like I say, I had an opportunity to go, and I think one of my buddies describes it best as we had the opportunity to do what millions of people wanted to do. Yeah, which was help.
Yeah.
So that's that one.
How long did you guys wind up staying there?
We were there from the 12th to the 23rd.
Oh, wow. Okay.
September.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously that incident for guys my age, I came on in 2003.
Mhm.
But like I said, I was private ambulance getting off a shift, and my relief came and woke me up. And dude, turn on the news. Come here, and got to the TV right as the second plane was hitting the second tower, and that's always kind of been like just like the most significant incident, in my memory of my career, really. So to be involved with an incident like that is extraordinary. But then you have something like Hurricane Katrina happen as well.
Night and day.
Okay. Let's talk to me about that.
Yeah. So so everybody hears Katrina, they always think of Louisiana.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Gulfport.
Okay.
Because Gulfport, Louisiana, the hurricane didn't do to Louisiana what happened to Louisiana. The levees let go.
Yeah.
And Louisiana got flooded. I'm not saying the hurricane didn't do it, but
sure. Yeah.
It was the levee issue.
It was levee damage.
Mississippi, right?
Gulfport is Mississippi.
Okay.
So Biloxi Gulfport, it came in, destroyed a bunch of stuff, and the water left. So as we come in, and there were all the gambling in Biloxi and Gulfport were barges. There were these giant 3-story center hallway looking, just to describe a 3-story center hallway, barge on land that wiped out an apartment building, that wiped out these houses.
Wow.
Just this whole neighborhood is
just come in with the water.
Exactly.
Coming
through it out.
Destroyed stuff.
Damn.
So we come into that, and then we're thinking fire breaks, because here's this stick neighborhood. All the houses are destroyed, and there's just sticks, and there's no fire break. So we're trying to, still being firefighters, not just rescue people, thinking along those lines.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and the way the system works is we work for what's called the incident support team. That incident support team either works for or with the local agency, but that incident support team looks a lot like your typical incident management team. It's got leaders, section chiefs,
right?
The whole makeup. But to manage these, we come in with a lot of stuff. By Katrina, the team was 80 by ground.
Wow.
So a type 1 team. So I come in with 4 type 1 teams.
Yeah.
You do the math.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing too, that people like watching or see an incident unfold or like on the news or something, don't keep track of. It's like you see the rescue, the search, all that stuff.
Right.
But people have to account for every single thing that's happening, every single person that shows up, feeding them, where they stay, what hours they worked and didn't work. Like you were saying, you're doing with the logs. It never ends.
Stress management.
Yeah.
Yeah, the logistics of it all is kind of mind-boggling.
And then the dogs, got to take care of the dogs.
Yeah,
dogs are the most popular. Got to make sure the dogs are good.
Yeah.
So all that. But for there, again, no real rescues, because by then, most of the people that needed rescue were rescued.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of just looking for HR, human remains, stuff like that. So a lot of that. And for me, that's just as important, because it brings closure.
Sure. Oh, right? Yeah. Yeah.
And then something
and it's just as dangerous too.
Oh, absolutely. No, same
like
process. It's just, it's just a different thing that we're looking for. But something as simple as raising the roof of a garage off of the guy's fishing boat, because that's his livelihood.
Yeah.
Something that simple, and what that does for that person.
Sure. Right.
So as minor as that may seem for me sitting in my chair at home, watching it or whatever, the outcome of that by 5 rescue specialists,
to
do this for this man,
affect the rest of his life.
Was huge,
and his family,
right?
And,
So that was and it was more. You had a lot of people that got sick from 9/11 because we didn't have a whole lot of decon.
Yeah. Plus, you didn't really know what was affecting you. Or
we also didn't really have the
air.
process, right? We didn't have the decon process. We didn't have all that. There was not this process.
Sure.
Versus Katrina, before we got on anything at the work site, we decon.
Yeah.
Before we come back to camp, the vehicles would get deconned.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was this process now, and less people got sick post Katrina versus, because I do an annual World Trade Center medical. I've got 5 certified conditions, 4 or 5. One is my lungs. My lungs I'm jacked up like everybody else.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Because it was, wear a mask. What did you say?
Sure, yeah.
So half the time the masks were down here.
Yeah.
I mean, you
can see that in the photos from everyone's got a mask around their neck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was,
and that's sort of how things go though in the fire service in general. It's like anything that we have a process for now or a rule or whatever is because somebody got fucked up.
Yeah.
Somebody got sick or hurt or killed. And so the reaction to that is to adjust policy and stuff like that. It's important. Even these days when I talk to young firefighters or the rookies that we have go through 63s, it's like number one, it's a lot easier to follow the rules, not get in trouble on this job. Trust me, if listen to me when I tell you guys that it's a lot easier to follow the rules. And every rule that we have, every procedure that we have, everything happens because somebody got jacked up somehow. Mm-hmm. And if it can happen to them, it can happen to you. So make sure you follow the rules, follow policy, follow procedure.
Like we should never have another Tom Taylor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We should never have another, Frank Hodgkin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, those things, not that anybody messed up.
Yeah.
Right. It was just what it was for the time.
Yeah, we got to learn.
Brian Phillips with the back when we had the D rings, clip it onto one.
Yep.
Again, we learned.
Yep.
And I knew every time I got on a ladder pipe, I would be thinking Brian Phillips.
Yep.
I'd be literally thinking that stuff. So, but no, it's process. And then the other stuff that I've gone to, I part of one of the ISTs. There's 3 ISTs, so now I'm a part of that. So most of my
what's the IST?
The incident support team, the FEMA incident support team that helps to manage the FEMA teams when they're deployed.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm part of the IST system now, and every deployment I've had since Katrina has been on the IST. So at a little higher, 10,000 foot level.
Sure. Yeah.
Helping to coordinate the stuff that goes on.
I do want to talk. You mentioned it. I do want to ask you about it. The dogs, are they part of the task force, or is that a separate?
No.
thing?
Yeah, every task force has a minimum of 4 dogs, 4 live fine dogs. So there's live fine and then there's HR.
Yeah.
So 2 different dogs. Some task forces have multiple, like one handler might have 2 dogs. Might have a live fine, might have an HR dog.
Wow.
That tends to be the norm, because if you look at what we're doing nowadays, you look at Lahaina incident. There were USAR task forces there with over 40 canine teams.
Yeah.
There searching for HR. The North Complex fire, we did the same thing up there. That's kind of the new incident type that we just sent teams to New Mexico for the fire there for that type of thing. Luckily, New Mexico turned out to not be that big of a life loss or anything, but that's the thing now. We're fortunate on California Task Force 1. Pretty much now, I think all the canine handlers are firefighters.
Yeah.
Or sworn. So
you hear about the dog, at least on the 9/11 incident, you hear about the dogs like becoming depressed because was that a real? Can you speak on that a little bit?
It's I don't know. It's hard to describe it as depressed because it's not like I talk to them, but
and their dogs.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't know they're working.
Yeah.
They have no idea they're working.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They do something, they succeed, they get their toy.
Right.
No toy. Well, what am I out here doing this for?
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't going to go out there and work if you're going to, if I'm not getting rewarded. So we would hide live victims, us would hide and let the dogs be successful and to keep their drive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe instead, we could say depressed, but we just say they lost their drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yes, that was a thing.
Was that something you guys were conscious of before 9/11? Like you knew, like you could have an incident where the dogs would need this.
I was not, because the only other bigger incident really before that was Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I hadn't been aware of it, but I'm not a canine guy.
Yeah.
So,
but if it's something like the handlers, though, like, hey, we got to watch out. It's been a couple of days. We got to,
but the
lay down.
I mean, because I'm sure it was their suggestion to do it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but,
so, you have this career where you've been to these significant incidents with the USAR Task Force 1. You're involved now with that, like you said, a higher level up there, and you get to see all that. And you're involved with the logistics of it all. And you really have kind of had your hand in every cookie jar when it comes to USAR at this later point in your career. Now you're getting closer to retirement. We haven't really had many retired guys, so I'm wondering. Our dad obviously retired, and but he wasn't. Yeah, I think he talked about all his Benny Hameen and all his nicknames.
His water brother Gandhi. Leonard.
But my dad, I don't think was like as in so deep with the fire department and into something like that. I mean, he was an engineer and he was good at his job, but when it was time to go, I think he was kind of like, cool, man, this chapter of my life.
Time to go.
When you're so deep into something like that, and it's such a huge part of your life, can you just kind of talk to me about how you've prepared to accept retirement, and did you accept it, or are you still staying involved? How much are you staying involved with the USAR and stuff?
So the USAR piece, so obviously not involved with the team.
Sure.
I mean, I'm on Cal 6. I'm involved with them now.
Now, is it like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 go first before 6 goes, or how does that work?
So there's 28 in the country. There's east, west, central, and east. It's broken down in rotation that way, and obviously with the 8 plus, we call Washington 1 Cal 9.
Yeah.
Plus with Washington 1, that rack on the west will be a 7-stage rack. It just
rotates through. Who's up to go?
Yeah,
basically.
And then what will usually happen is you get the closest 3 right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then
gotcha.
We'll go to the rotation depending upon if it's a notice event or a no notice event. Just there's this whole freaking thing that thick,
system.
And it's the FEMA system. It's nothing. The agencies have no say in it. It's
gotcha.
The FEMA system. But so the teaching thing. I teach the Urban Search and Rescue Plans Team course.
Okay.
I helped to rewrite the most recent one and helped to review the one before that. So there's ownership there. I'm a believer in, I don't just read the material. I learn the material, and as things change, because when we did the rewrite, things have changed. Technology has changed. So we need to bring that in. So I'm always trying to learn to be a better instructor, because I've been that person in the seat when the instructor is just checking a box.
Sure, yeah.
Miserable. Wasting my time. And I don't ever want anybody to say that about me, ever. I want them to benefit. So anyway, 2002, post 9/11, I went to the plant. They had just redone the class. I went and took the class again. And you had one of the instructors was one of our former legends, Travis Warford's dad, Rick Warford.
Okay.
He's been big time legend in FEMA USAR. We call him Father Time because his hair's been white forever.
Yeah.
So anyway, legit rock star from our agency in it. He was one of the instructors. My buddy, a good friend of mine from Sacramento, he was the EOPS guy up there. Jeff Miller, just super, super solid guys.
Sure.
My boy Carl Lee, he's my freaking bookend. He's my boy from Vegas, and he was one of the instructors, and he and I are super good friends too. So anyway, I take the class, and I'm like, sounds fun. I want to do this. How do I do this? Well, this is how you do this. So they tell me, and it's typical stuff. You've got to go on your own dime to shadow a class and get the sets and reps so you can fill out the application to do it. So I do what they tell me to do all that. Then I kind of get thrown in the rotation, and then the older guys kind of cycle out. Now I'm the older guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm
like,
still,
what the hell? How'd this happen?
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm still got my hand in the system, and I'm fortunate that task forces need a class. They'll call me and I'll pick a cadre, and now that some of the things that have changed in the system is there's a lot of state teams that are not a part of the FEMA system. It's called SUSAR, State Urban Search and Rescue. Same type 1 type teams, same required trainings, same stuff, but they're state teams.
Yeah.
And I get to go, and I call it getting off the island. Again, still, I get to go to North Carolina, South Carolina, all these places to teach these classes. And I usually walk away with pearls. I walk away with something because there's always somebody in that class that can, teach me something. So that, and I take it and add it to the course. I'll take it, and I have a Google site that I created just for the class that a lot of these folks are using it, kind of like a field operations guide that's got examples best practices, all this good stuff. And again, me doing that helps me to be a better instructor and better at my job.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning, just like there's a new app right now called Watch Duty for checking out for fires.
Yeah.
Dude, money.
Yeah.
Give me that. And you just keep on, everybody just shares. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so there's the teaching part.
Yeah.
Had a private business for a few years. And did a bunch of, because my background also was disaster preparedness. I was a cert instructor for a long time.
Okay.
Helped to write the manual twice, stuff like that. A lot of changes. Wrote another thing called disaster awareness course, like all local here. Yeah. And again, fortunate to have been taught. We created it. The LA City Fire Department created it, and then I was fortunate enough that when I came in, that the guys that wrote it taught me how to teach it. Yeah. And then we just took it and ran with it and stuff like that. So then the gentleman you had here before me is a part of it and doing his thing, that it's still, it's all about community and stuff like that. So, but no, it allows me to, and then there's the other piece besides the teaching is the FEMA USAR system. The FEMA branch is about 6-8 people.
Oh, wow.
That's it at FEMA headquarters.
Yeah. Wow.
For 28 teams. What helps to make the machine work is there are 6,000 members plus in the 28 teams. Yeah. There's a bunch of those members that make up the strategic group, advisory group, and subgroups and all this stuff. Sure. Mm-hmm. That helps. So that was last week's meeting in Florida, was all those people that come together for that. And I'm fortunate I've moved my way through that system, and I'm one of the deputy for one of the functional groups. I've also, just this week, I helped to go up to Sacramento and did their 3-year assessment for their task force. I get to do that. Yeah. And again, it's peer, evaluation. And the word evaluation is kind of crazy, but I'm going to look at your stuff and make sure that, give you some, hey, might want to think about this.
Do you feel like it's like, you see like a 90-year-old doctor that's been still, seeing patients and stuff like that, but the way he looks at it is like the knowledge he's gained over the years, is benefiting his patients and the other doctors that he's teaching. Do you kind of feel like this is something that you're going to continue to do as long as you're physically able to do it?
No. My measuring stick for me doing it is when my stories start with back in Oklahoma City. And not something current.
Looking at the past as opposed to staying with the times.
If I can't tell a story from something current, or relate in my instruction and remain current in my instruction, then it's time to go. But because I am trying, I do that. I do stay on top of the newest stuff. I do stay involved with different things, but once I'm not that guy, it's time to go. And it's I don't think it's in the next couple of years, but there's some newer folks that I've been helping, and I think they're freaking rock stars. And it's like, well, it's like being at the station or whatever. It's like, you got the kid that wants to come up and is yanking at your shirt, wanting to learn something. You're going to help them. If you got the one that ain't hungry, exactly, you're not going to help them. I mean, you're going to, you might try some of that motivation, but if they just, it has to be on them. And so same thing with me. I get guys, hey, how do I get to teach with you? Show up.
Exactly.
Just like I did. I mean, it's not free. Show up and I'll help you I will give you, I don't hoard, keep anything. I will give you everything I got. I have no problems with it. You call me, it's yours. Because we're not fighting. This is
not a competition.
It's about, you're going to be better and help the people. So that's my viewpoint. So once I'm no longer relevant, then I'll bounce. But right now, still having fun.
Yeah. Man, I appreciate that approach to it though, because like we've all sat in on technical classes, CEs, things like that. And especially disaster stuff, the USAR stuff, ICS stuff. It's a weird thing to teach and, to make sure that the people walk out of there grasping it, and to make sure that you're keeping things relevant, keeping people's attention. It's huge. Because a lot of people just check off the boxes. You walk out, you don't really, and because you only do it when the incidents happen.
Right. Yeah. You don't get the
You're
sets
going to
and
pop
reps.
up and you're like,
right?
oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I
get the
mean? I
sets
got to
and reps,
remember,
it's
I'm
gone.
planning. What do I do?
Yeah,
I'm logistics.
exactly.
Oh shit.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Especially if that student was told to be there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
It's like that they're already.
USAR is an interesting thing too, because just like you said, it's the significant incidents are few and far between, and so you don't get. It's not like like if you're at a 33s or 66 and you're drilling on a center hall or whatever, or a single family fire, attic fire, or whatever you're drilling on. In the next month or so, you're going to get that fire. You know, you're going to get it, and so there's that gratification of training your ass off, getting the fire, everything goes as it's supposed to. And it's like, oh shit, that's cool. All this training we did.
Right.
With USAR, it's a little bit more spread out.
100%.
And so you don't get that gratification till you get something significant. And it's like, okay, fuck. But you have to be, it's those incidents where you have to be trained up to the point where it's second nature. And you
like, when was the last time you had a trench rescue?
Yeah.
And they're not all the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
you hear about a horse getting trapped, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and a worker getting trapped. So it kind of feels like this is a good place to stop, man.
Cool.
I think we covered a lot, Bubba. I really appreciate you coming in, man.
I'm humbled.
We've been trying to set it up for a while.
There is one last thing though, because whenever we have people who did work with our dad, we gotta hear a thing. We gotta give it a minute.
Okay, I honestly, I only worked with your dad on overtime days, which was a lot, because he was at 58s, I was at 61s in the rotation. I was over there all the time. And all I ever remember with your dad was always having fun.
Yeah.
Like I say, it was him. His water brother was Sadil. So it was Saddam and Gandhi. we always had a good time. There was never, and I can't even think of ever seeing your dad bothered. I think the other big thing I remember is I think he built a truck while he was there.
Probably not.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
or bought a truck.
He probably bought a truck.
Yeah, bought a truck. Yeah. I do. I remember him being very proud of a truck.
he had this big dually like F-250. Remember?
Don't forget, this was the 90s. So,
yeah. He had it parked out there, and somebody crashed into it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So somebody racing down Robertson.
It was out front.
It was parked out front. Yeah.
I remember that. I just remember being in the parking lot and always trying to keep it, because I think it just got it painted or something. Or something.
You know what's funny, man, is I'm actually really appreciative that my dad kind of had that. We talk about treating rookies like shit and stuff like that, but like throughout my career, I've run into guys that are like, you're Benny's kid? Oh, he's a peach, or whatever.
Like I said,
and it was always like
anything bad at all.
Yeah, he treated me really good when I was a rookie. And it's like, oh fuck, thank God, Dad. Thank you. You know what I mean?
Got me through internship.
Do you have anything that you would like to promote, or any websites for, or anything like?
I don't, man. I will say this. I think sometimes in our culture that some guys are losing their way and forgetting that we need to take care of each other.
Yeah.
You always talk about fire family, but yet a lot of members are quick to throw people under the bus and just make it bad.
Yeah.
And I hope that any folks that are out there, especially the skippers, all you can control is your box. Fire department's not perfect. All you control is your station. You're the adult supervision. Set a good example. Don't sit there and talk all crazy, because then it festers in the house.
Yeah.
I remember every great I was fortunate in my career that I've only had 2 bad captains, and I mean bad. And it was on special duty, but everybody else, great environment, great. They shielded us. They did and took care of the box.
Yeah.
Just take care of the box. And if you take care of the box, the members will do great.
Yeah, man.
And they'll do work for you. So that's all I got.
Yeah. I always hear people say stuff like, oh, the department doesn't care about me. And it's like, I have to remind them, like, the department isn't a person. When you talk about the department, we're talking about each other, man. We could figure out how to take care of each other in this thing.
100%. Yeah. So that's all.
Well, Bubba, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Again, thank you so much for coming out.
Appreciate it.
You guys, as always, if you can like, comment, share the podcast, tell your friends about it. It helps us grow as a podcast. You can follow me at Danny Gonzo 34 on Instagram.
You can follow me at Ben9Humor, Ben9Humor on Instagram and Twitter. Follow our show at PRC Pod on Instagram, PRC Podcast on TikTok. Email us at contactprcpod@gmail.com. And again, thanks for listening.
We'll see you next week.